that were super dramatic,
Hmm.
um, high drama. Even the teachers were high drama. Like I just could not. I just wasn't raised that way. My dad was always like, keep it to yourself. Like, just do the work, put your head down, and go. And so I think that might have been actually my reason for wanting to do theater like somewhere else. And he agreed with
Yeah.
it. That was that's cool.
Well, what do you credit with kind of planting the seed of interest in the performing arts in the first place? Because it's
In that scene whatsoever, like my dad um, and his family owned a car collision center, like a body shop, and my mom also worked at the business, and then she modeled for a while when she was younger, and so they had an understanding of it a little just from what they heard, and my cousins being in Los Angeles and doing it, and they just loved taking us downtown to watch shows, like whether it was like an old show from the 80s that they heard. I don't even know how they got into it really. Like I think they always wanted to do it but never really could or never
Mhm.
really knew how to. And actually my grandma, my grandma on my dad's side was super musical. Like and tap dance. Like she tap danced for like 30 or 40 years. So probably came down from her, and then she would sing us songs, and then we really never knew what they were. And then we would finally see them when we would go to the theater. Like, oh, that's like grandma. Like grandma sings that song. Like we always joke about it. And then I think sometimes you joke about something so much that it like becomes a reality.
Yeah.
You're like,
And
oh,
then
that's
here
like,
you are.
yeah,
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Yeah, I mean, it's funny the way that these things find different avenues from being an interest as a young kid to doing it extracurricularly to all of a sudden, oh, you're moving to LA, you've been there for 11 years, and here you are doing the actual thing.
yeah.
Um,
I know,
so
right? Totally.
what advice would you give someone who is looking to follow in your footsteps? I mean, you've been at this for a while now.
Yep.
Your first screen credit was iCarly back in the day, is that right?
Yes, and they cut me out. It was
You weren't in the final cut. I didn't even know.
it was like a blip. I get hit with a lemon in the face and fall to the ground, and we had it was like a complete like guest star, carved out, nice arc, Carly's boyfriend, and then when it came down to shooting day, they were like, "So here are the new sides," and I think my line was like, "Hey Carly, I just brought you." And who's a casting associate now that's now working with those casting directors, and they were like, remember we casted Taylor on his first project 10 years ago. So it's funny how everyone remembers. But advice, like moving to a city, or I was just say moving to Los Angeles,
Hmm.
is very it's just full of temptations, whether it's, I mean, just I'll just say partying, yeah, partying or working your butt off. And I think the number one advice would be to live your life. And I did not take that bit of advice forever, because when you get an audition and you have no way to relate a real life situation with this scene you're doing, it
Hmm.
becomes 10 times harder. And like now you're substituting even more, or now you're as ifing even more. And sometimes it's just so nice to be able to go, oh, this has happened to me. Okay. And then you put it into the mind of the character. But if you are living this like studious life in the library, like reading plays and like not having any real time experience outside of reading these plays or doing these plays, like you really, you're kind of like a shell of a human in a way.
Hmm. Hmm.
And it's apparent when you walk.
Hmm.
Uh, and so I had a friend a long time ago say, you can't walk into the audition room with your um, pulling your horse cart in. You have to bring it in unassembled and assemble the horse cart for the casting director,
Hmm.
and then you can walk out with it fully assembled. Like
Yeah.
you can't bring in this bronzed bronzed audition. So I would say that'd be the first thing: just have a life, have a life.
Yeah.
Secondly, would be to find a group of people that you love and connect with and can create with, because it's hard. I mean, I get it. And I get into a class. I mean, you're not going to find anyone if you're not in a class, either whether it's improv. I mean, Upright Citizens Brigade. Like, I mean, there's IO West, Groundlings, like that, or you can go to. I mean, Leslie Kahn. Understanding comedy, screen analysis, script analysis, um, just, you know, you're getting in those 10,000 hours, but
Hmm.
you're paying for a community. You're paying whatever, a few $100 a month to have people that will rehearse with you for 3 hours a day. And, you know, that $400 you're spending for once a week on Wednesday is their time to come act with you and get better. So
Hmm. Hmm.
that, I mean, I still have my group of 5 friends. Not all of them are in the industry anymore. Like maybe they're writing now, I want to be a director, but those are my people for 5 years, doing auditions with. I mean, because there's, and we live in the world of self tapes now too. So you need to have a friend that, you know, can coach you, self tape you. You could do the same for them and like run us
Hmm.
around town, because it's really hard to be solo out here. It's really hard to not have that community and support, because you're all going through the same thing. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
you're hitting
And
the pain.
it's more than a social community. It's a support group. It's collaborators. I mean, it's really essential
Yeah.
to find your footing in a new place. Absolutely.
Yeah, like to know that you're not alone as well, because I mean, you like you and I just like started bawling. You know, I was like, what? Like what else can I do? Like I am rehearsing. I mean, this is probably like year 7 or year 8. You know, like, and I was working, you know, but I want, of course, you always want more. Like, I think the human
Hmm.
condition, you always want more. And I was like, what can help me 10x like my acting career? Like, make me better? Like, how can I listen better? Like, how can I be better in comedy? On it, and the class just made fun of me because they're like, it's so funny that you're like bawling right now and you have a shirt that says super okay. And I was like, that is funny. But you know, I think we all have those moments in our career, and I mean, I think all careers everywhere, but especially in the creative arts, where you're just like giving all of yourself, and it's not about like paperwork, and it's not about filing, and it's not about presentations. It's like about you sitting alone or with friends and doing the work and like scraping up all these emotions and like not going anywhere, but just knowing, like, if you have that like undying desire and undying work ethic, that you know that like this is for you and I will be successful, and nothing can stop you. I think that's the only way you can be successful. I mean, you
Yeah. It all works out in the end. But I feel like those are perfect little bits of wisdom to wrap this conversation on. Super excited to see what you do next. Congrats again on the kissing booth, and it's been great to reconnect here. Thanks for sharing your time.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you for asking.
Yeah, of course, of course. We'll be in touch. All
All
right, bye
right.
bye.
Bye.